Okay, so we have completed 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those motifs that are connected together as you go. And now all we need to do is finish the last part and put it on the blocking board and starch it very heavily, being that it is a bookmark. So this last part is to create this split ring top with an arch and a tassel. And that's the part that hangs out of your book like that. Okay. So a split ring, if you've never done it before, it is not as complicated as it sounds or appears. Why did I choose the split ring over a regular ring like we were doing in here? Well, you see how the ring and the picots is like this, and the thread comes off the bottom. When you do a split ring, you attach at the top like a picot, and your thread comes out the bottom, and you can continue on. The rings lay differently, and you don't have to have these arches to connect them as you go. The tassel is very, very simple. I have some pre-cut strands for the tassel for this one. So that is easily done by using both sides of your needle. So you will need quite a bit of thread as a tail thread. All right. And I say all the way around, we work one side, the other, connect, and then add a arch. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out quite a bit of tail thread to do this first set of 3 split rings. And you're going to want to grab your tatting needle and go ahead and place it onto your project from the center into the 3rd picot out from the center of your last motif. So right into the center, place the sharp in from the top to the bottom. Okay, so once you have your tail thread and your needle through your picot, we're going to, on the left-hand side, the sharp side of the needle, we're going to work from the ball. On the right-hand side, we're working from our tail, because that is the eye side of the needle, and that's where we'll be threading our tail through the eye and drawing it through. So you're going to take your thread and place your needle over your thread and hold it tight to that picot that it is in. And we're going to place 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches on the sharp side of your needle, the left side of your needle if you are right-handed. Picot and 3 double stitches. Okay. Now we're going to pick up our tail end and work the opposite side. So just take and turn your work over like you're turning the page of a book. Make sure your picot is not way down here when you start, that it's actually up against your work. Hold it steady and do the same thing. 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches. Okay, now we can turn our work back over, and we're going to thread the eye of our needle with our tail thread. And now we're going to close it up to form a ring exactly like we've done previously. So go ahead and pull your tail thread through and bring that needle through the loop from the back side to the front. Once you've done this once or twice, you get the hang of it, and it's not as complicated as it seems. Okay, so now we're going to turn our work over just like we normally would. And that creates a natural teardrop effect. Insert your needle from the back to the front, creating a knot. And now we're going to repeat the same process, only we're not connecting to a picot because we're already connected. So you can remove that tail thread from the eye of your needle now. Place your needle over the knot that you just created. 3 double stitches, picot 3 double stitches on each side. Remember, when you start, the eye of your needle will be on the same side as the tail thread. The sharp side of your needle will always be on the side of your ball thread. Okay, turn the work over like turning the page in a book. And do the same thing. 3 double stitches, picot 3 double stitches. Turn your work back over. And now lace the eye of your needle here. And we're going to repeat that one more time. Turn your work over. There we go. Turn your work over and place a knot. And at this point, you can sew in your tails, because we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So go ahead and sew your tails in, connect to that 3rd picot on the opposite side, and create 2 rings. Once you have created 2 split rings, I will meet up with you and we will finish the last ring and the arch with the tassel attachment together. Okay, so I have completed my ring and knot, last knot there on the second side. Let's go ahead and do this last ring and arch and tassel together. So I'm going to start my ring off with 3 double stitches, just like the prior rings. The only difference is this time, instead of a picot, I'm going to connect to the side picot from our previous set of 3 rings there. So I'm going to slip through and connect, just like such. Okay, and 3 more double stitches. And then again, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite side as we've been doing. 3 double stitches, picot 3 double stitches. Okay, turn your work back over and lace up your needle with your tail thread. Okay, pull your tail thread through, form a ring, just like that. Now we are going to turn our work over and place a knot and create our arch now. We'll take a quick look at the arch before we start. So now we have the 2 sets running up the side here with the 3 rings on each side, and then we have this arch at the top where our tassel hangs off. And it's 3 double stitches picot, 3 double stitches picot, 3 double stitches picot, and 3 double stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. Place your needle over your last knot made, and let's begin. You're going to want a total of 3 picots, starting and ending with 3 double stitches and 3 double stitches in between each of those picots. Second picot, 3 double stitches. Third picot and 3 double stitches. We'll be using that center picot to hang our tassel on. Okay, go ahead and pull your tail thread through, and you're going to connect from the bottom to the top to the center of the opposite ring. So just like we came out of this ring to make the arch, we're going to connect over here to the very bottom. And it might take just a little bit of doing to make sure you get it in the right location. There we are. Pull that tail thread through and your arch down. Turn your work over and place a knot, sew in your ends, and we will get busy starting on putting that tassel on. So now we can put our tassel on the top here, and I will be taking and using one of my leftover tails that I cut off. And I'm gonna pull the tail through this center picot. So we had 3 on our arch. We're pulling it through the center one. And you can do that with a needle or just stick it through. I'm just using my needle threader because that's what's easier. Then you're gonna wanna take and place those threads through that as evenly as possible. And at this point you can tie a knot if you would like. I'm actually going to wait and tie the knot once I have put this tassel threads on top of that tail thread that I just pulled through there. Now you can make this however thick or thin you would like. Let's see, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Recount that. Yep, I have 10 threads, all about the same length. It doesn't really matter too much because we're going to cut them off at the end anyway. So anyway, I'm going to place them onto that tail thread that I just pulled through the picot, and this is where I'm going to tie my knot. And I like to start with a surgeon's knot, so bringing that yarn around twice, or the thread around twice, so that way when I cinch this down, it's going to hold. And I'm going to cinch it down good and tight. And then I'm going to tie just one more regular knot here. Okay, at this point, I flip my work over, and I'm going to pull those tassel threads down, kind of give them a place here. Now what I'm going to do is right in between them, I'm going to create an eye, just like that. And I'm going to take one thread and stick it through all the way and pull it back out the bottom, leaving a loop. I'm going to take the opposite side and do the same thing. Leaving a loop. Now, I'm going to take the one from the right, bring it from the back to the front, and stick it from top to bottom through the loop on the opposite side. Nothing gets pulled tight at this present moment. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to bring it around from the back. This is hard to do this direction. Around from the back and place it through the loop on the opposite side. Get my fingers out of there. And now I'm going to slowly cinch them down and adjust them to where I want them. Now what I'm going to do is wrap these threads around by taking the one from the right, going to the left, the one from the left going to the right, and just wrapping around. Until I have used up quite a bit, if not almost all of my thread. This is definitely easier to do if you take something and set it on top of the project that you're working on that's heavy, so that way you can work free-handed down here. Okay, so this is not the neatest of tassels, but you're getting the idea. Okay, so now all you need to do is place a knot. Again, I recommend doing a surgeon's knot. So over and over twice. And bring it in for the good cinch. Get everything nice and situated. And then do one more little knot here. Then what you're going to do is take your needle and shove it down the center of all of those wraps. Take one tail thread at a time and lace the eye of your needle and pull it down through the center. And on the second tail, you're actually going to pull it a little bit tight, so that way you're turning the knot that you just made down into all of those wraps. I'm going to pull that one in and do this again, and on this next one I will pull that a lot tighter. And this you just have to play with until you get it just as you would like. Okay. And then I just grab hold of all of those wraps and pull until I feel that knot slip down into those wraps. Then what you do is cut it all off to the length desired. Turn it over, make sure everything is like you would like. This wrap, like I said, is not the best. It's not the prettiest. And if you know a better way of doing it that you like to do, go for it. This is just how I do it, and this particular one is not the greatest. We'll look at this one. Okay, so now all that's left to do is put this on your blocking board and starch it. I would recommend trying to make sure that your pinning, when you're blocking it, creates nice even motifs all the way down. And I will show you, insert a picture of mine on the blocking board and after it has come off the blocking board after this video. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this bookmark tutorial, everyone. And until next time, be blessed and be a blessing. Bye for now.